Hi, welcome to Australian Gamers Friday Night Podcast. I'm Yug.
And I'm Matt.
Tonight we'll be looking at the Australian government's financial contribution to the Australian game developers industry. I made that really hard for myself.
You really did. You could have just said, give us money.
Yeah? Okay, what else?
And the release of specs for the Nintendo Revolution.
Yeah. Alright, well, let me try and rephrase that so it's a bit simpler. I was actually practicing...
Just explain it, don't even bother to rephrase it.
I was practicing that a few times, actually, and stumbling quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Look, basically what it is the government's giving money to game developers in Australia.
Yeah, from my understanding, that's a little vague. Basically what it is they're helping to... provide venture capital for game developers, rather than just throwing money at game developers. They're actually
pretty much. Well, I mean, the aim is to raise like about $5 million a year for the next 5 years, right? And so there'll be $25 million in share capital. That's the plan. And like, apparently, I think Australia's like about $100 million games industry sort of thing. So it's actually growing quite a bit.
That's a pretty significant chunk when you consider that it's only $100 million. Of an industry, and that's $25 million. Or I guess it's $25 million
over 5 years.
Over 5 years,
but it's better than nothing. It's better than a kick in the teeth.
It's certainly good. It certainly helps.
And more importantly, I think it's good that the Australian games industry is getting a lot more recognition.
Yeah, recognition.
I mean, there are a lot of good publishers in Australia. I mean, when you think about it, you've got. What are some of the
Chrome
ones?
and Aurum jump to mind.
You've got Chrome that does the Tasmanian Tiger series, which is I think the highest selling Australian game that's been exported overseas and stuff like that. You've got Aurum,
Aurum, I think,
and they did Dark Reign,
of course,
but they don't do much now, actually.
I'm sure if they listen to this, they'll be seeing their games.
Well, they do train simulator games. They've done some proprietary gaming engine.
Yeah, they do some middleware stuff as well.
Actually, I was in a chat room thing the other day on macromedia.com, and a guy called Matthew who works there was in there. I tried to say hi, but he ignored me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So if you listen to this, you bastard.
People called Matthew ignore you all the time.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah.
Oh, right, that's what you meant.
Yeah, it was like a joke. I was being subtle.
But some other game developers, there's... Who else? There's Ratbag Games.
I don't really know. I should know, but I actually don't.
Oh, I actually looked into this a little bit a while ago. There's Melbourne House. Big time Melbourne House.
Right.
There are others.
Sydney House?
There's one that's doing the...
Pandemic?
Stargate game. Yeah, Pandemic, Destroyer of Humans.
Who are the guys who did Full Spectrum Warrior?
I don't remember.
Because they're Australian too, I believe.
Another thing is, I mean, I think the weekend that just went was the Australian Game Developers Conference.
Yeah. Which, because we're important people, we were actually invited to go, but because we're useless, we actually didn't.
We did, we were going to go, but... It's all the way down there.
It's a long
We're in Brisbane, and it's like,
yeah, it was so far.
It's Christmas coming up, and got some other excuses.
My cat died.
Right, you have a cat?
No, it died.
Your Nintendo died.
I don't have a Nintendo.
Oh, okay. But yeah, interesting though. That's the last Australian Game Developers Conference that's going to be held ever.
Yeah, you mentioned that mutteringly while walking past me previously. What's the deal?
I'm not 100% sure, and I probably should have read the email slightly more.
Right.
There was an actual email that was sent out about it from the Australian Game Developers Conference, and they're basically saying that I think I'm probably wrong, and by all means, anyone feel free to correct me.
It's been attacked by aliens.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. The guy who was running it was an alien. So he's actually been detained.
Brilliant. Anyway, what did the email say?
Basically, another company who was funding it or something like that, the big drive behind it has basically cut the funding to it, and they're doing their own conference now.
Oh, okay.
So
there'll be probably something else.
There's going to be something else. It's just not the Australian Game Developers Conference. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I'm really happy to...
Australian Gamer bringing you the news. Well informed and reliable.
Bringing you the not quite up to date and not quite sure news that might not be right.
Want to say a particular hello to anyone who's in Queensland enjoying the lovely weather we're having?
Oh,
so nice.
Listen,
and comfy.
I apologise if you hear a lot of like that sort of.
Yeah.
It's me wiping my face because I'm sweating like a heroin addict trying to quit.
Anyone else who's there in Queensland's probably, like us, got their balls stuck to their leg by now. Unless they're girls, of course. In which case, possibly labia.
It's just that there's that line. There's that line.
I like
you look
that
at that
line
and you go, what can I do to jump over that line?
I like that line.
Let's talk about labias, shall I? Yeah.
Labia. Plural.
Labias.
It's a plural.
How do you say many labias? Many labia.
Labia is plural. I guess labium would be one. That's a nice labium you've got. Hi, Mum. So anyway.
Anyway. Okay, well that's good. Australia gets more money.
Yeah, money for Australian games development is good.
The other thing is that it is, like the movie industry, it's a lot cheaper to actually develop big games in Australia as opposed to overseas as well, which is what a lot of
depending on where overseas.
Well, a lot of the overseas development houses are actually farming out work to Australia.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool. I'd heard that.
So yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I just think that's cool in general. I like anything that, about the Australian game industry. I, get behind it, support it. Yay, fantastic.
Alright, we might talk about Nintendo for a bit then.
Alright, let's talk about Nintendo, because it is the topic of conversation on the site at the moment.
We've kind of Nintendofied the site a bit, which is funny because the comic is basically bagging out Nintendo, but the actual article is supporting Nintendo.
You've got a bit of a turnaround sort of.
I've gone a little schizophrenic on that one.
What's the deal with that?
I don't know. I just realistically, just to anyone who was offended by the comic or wasn't offended or whatever, it's really just a cheap shot with no basis in truth.
That's right. There's nothing wrong with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson's fine.
Oh, you mean Nintendo?
No, I meant Michael Jackson.
Oh, right. Okay.
Nintendo molests children, but Michael Jackson, he's
innocent.
He's an artist.
He's innocent. He
was proven innocent.
That's right.
So yeah, they've finally released some specs. Well, they haven't really released some specs, but basically, developers who have dev kits have kind of had a bit of a chat to particularly IGN and said, here's what the machine kind of is like, and basically it is. Basically, they're looking at it as being roughly equivalent to an Xbox, a little more powerful than an Xbox.
They said apparently a while ago, someone said the Revolution will be 2 or 3 times more powerful than the GameCube, and that's about right, I think.
Well, they're saying now it's actually probably closer to double. More like double than 3 times.
Well, but the interesting thing about all this, and I even find it interesting that a game publication would push this so hard, is that they're saying, but Nintendo are really trying to stress they're not trying to compete with the Xbox or the PlayStation.
Yeah, they see themselves as a very different market, and I'm not quite sure how they justify that exactly, because, hey, it's a game.
Well, they're marketing to gamers.
It's... Yeah, because those are the people who play games.
It's like...
Crazily enough.
Yeah, I don't see how they can really do that. I mean, I actually thought their whole concept of, we're bringing out the Nintendo DS, which is not going to be competing with the Game Boy Advance. It's going to be a completely separate system. No, that's rubbish. I don't actually... Yet
it does seem to have actually worked out for them. Sales of the DS have actually not affected sales of the Game Boy Advance. But surprisingly, I would have thought that as soon as they bought out the DS, the Advance would just drop out because no one would want the lesser system. But no, it's actually been quite different. And similarly, the Micro, now that they've bought that out, the two are able to coexist and actually make more money than alone.
Maybe there's something they know that we don't.
Which is just probably the case because we're two idiots and they're a multinational corporation.
Yeah. So
they probably...
We draw pictures.
No, you draw pictures.
I draw pictures.
I don't even do that.
You write words. But yeah, And I guess in that respect, they've sort of proven us wrong. So
we
don't really have much of a footing to.
They've proven us wrong a few times, and especially me lately. They've proven me wrong lately quite a few times. Yeah. So, which is why I was a bit sort of vague in my criticism of them.
But you know what? I don't care. I still think it's a bit silly to say we're not competing with the other consoles because let's be honest, it was Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube in the last generation of systems, right? And then the next gen's coming out, and it's still it's Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. It's still those three systems coming out around next gen systems. They're being promoted. The game, the Revolution will compete with the other two because when push comes to shove, a person is going to go to the shops and they'll go, "What do I want to buy? An Xbox, a PlayStation, or a Revolution?"
Yes. What do you want from me? A lively, informed debate?
Yeah,
I just totally agree.
Oh. Okay, that sucks. One thing that I did find interesting, though, is that a lot of the developers said that the price would be extremely cheap.
Yeah, they're saying $149 is kind of the expected price.
Because the
this is US, of course.
Yeah, because the hardware is a lot cheaper to actually make.
But it's also possible that it could be as low as $99 US, which
is like 180.
Which would put it definitely less than 200 here,
definitely
which is not
quite a lot less than the Xbox 360.
Basically, anyway. Put it not that different in price. Probably less than like an Xbox.
Less than a PSP as well.
Well, less than a PSP was a given.
Okay.
But less than a current generation Xbox or PS2. Current generation.
That's handy for us because, like, okay, we're going to end up getting all of them.
We'll get everything
because we're obsessed, right?
And we're crazy.
But for the general Joe public sort of thing that doesn't get all three consoles as soon as they come out and might only have the ability to buy one, that's a very appealing prospect.
However, I think that in most cases, the people who have the ability to buy only one will probably not be buying the Nintendo just because it's cheaper. They'll probably be buying the PS3 because Sony rules, or the Xbox because Xbox rules. I don't think there's going to be many people.
I think we'll see because they are expensive.
They are
$600 for a new console, while is expected and is completely justified and usual for a new console, is still a lot of money.
It is still a fair chunk of cash, but at the same time, what I worry about with Nintendo pricing it so low is that it'll appeal much more to a kiddie market, to a younger market, to parents buying it for kids, which will then make it yet again another kiddie console like they've been stuck with for the last...
The more I think about it, and this is actually a little theory I've got, right? When I think about it, Nintendo have always catered towards the kid market. Even the Super Nintendo compared to the Mega Drive. The Mega Drive was this sleek, arcadey machine that had Mortal Kombat with blood and it had more hardcore games, whereas Nintendo was a lot more softer. It was a lot cuter.
Fun
it was
and bouncy and stuff.
Sonic was like cool, radical dude. Mario was a bloody plumber, who goes and gets mushrooms and.
That's cool and everything, but the market has changed from what it was.
No, but here's the thing. We've changed from what we were. But the one reason why I still buy Nintendo consoles and why I go back is because I still have such good memories from playing such good games with Nintendo. And even though I look at a Mario or a Zelda game now and go, oh, it's so childish. It looks like compared to Grand Theft Auto or mature games. They're not mature games. But they're still fantastic games. And by Nintendo actually sort of imprinting themselves on the younger market, they continue to grab an audience that has a nostalgia factor, which will always buy their systems no matter how old they get. It's just a theory I've had that they always target that younger audience. It's like McDonald's with their Happy Meals and their playgrounds and stuff, always targeting the younger kids because they keep them coming back no matter how old they grow.
Yeah, no, you're wrong.
Am I?
Well, no, I mean, I think you're right. I think that to a large degree is what they're trying to do, but I think that if they keep doing it, it'll slip away. As the market matures, as the industry matures, as they bring out a system that, yes, cool, much cheaper, is still vastly less powerful, comparisons are going to be inevitable.
Absolutely, comparisons are going to be inevitable. But, unlike the GameCube, the Revolution won't have cross-platform games.
No, it can't.
It can't.
So
that won't happen. So it's in a unique position to have games which aren't going to be available on any other system, and it's because of that damn controller.
It's also in a unique position to not have any freaking games.
True, which is what happened with the Cube towards the end of its development cycle. But I think,
but even the Cube has been able to get some cross-platform games that have at least kind of bulked up the range a little bit.
But everyone was just pissed off with that. Like, anyone who bought a Cube thinking it was one of the other, a competing system, was severely disappointed. One, because any game on the Cube was inferior on the Cube most of the time. So,
not necessarily graphics, but yeah.
Especially with the control pad, because it was just so bizarre. A lot of the games didn't work as well as they did on the other systems. And towards the end, I know EA basically just stopped releasing GameCube cross-platform games.
Mm-hmm.
Just, that's it. No, it can't be bothered. There's no point.
Yeah, well, I think that I worry that for a start, it's very easy to say that Nintendo are very good at what they do. And we can look at Nintendo's track record, and we can look at some of the games they've had for the N64, for the GameCube, and so on.
Yep.
You've got your Zeldas, and you've got your
great IPs,
Metroid Primes, and not even great IPs, great games, awesome games.
Yep.
But they've still got to show and prove the next time. You're only as good as the next game, not the last one.
But that's the good thing about the Revolution. The GameCube, for example. I remember playing Super Mario Sunshine, and you know what I thought? I thought it's kind of just like Mario 64, except that it's Mario 64, except a little bit more shiny
and a little more complicated.
Sort of thing. But as in it actually, with the GameCube, a lot of the games on it, I felt that it was like it wasn't that much of an improvement over the actual, Nintendo 64. And the reason was because going from the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64 was such a massive leap, going from 2D to 3D, basically. And then it basically went from 3D to a little better 3D.
Yeah.
So I think actually what Nintendo's doing is actually really good. It's like they're going from 3D to a completely different way of playing.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people have said, actually I've looked at a lot of sites that have compared the Xbox to the Xbox 360 games, and they say that unless you're playing on high definition TV, a lot of Xbox 360 games just look like really good Xbox games.
Yeah, they're not like a huge leap.
And don't forget that Revolution won't be supporting high definition TV either. It is, and I find it hard to comment on that because I've only seen a limited amount of games running on high definition TV.
I think that high def later in the system's lifespans will be a bigger deal than it is now, than it will be at the start of them, because so few people actually have high definition TVs.
Especially in Australia. Like in the States, I know it's a big deal sort of thing, but here in Australia, no, most people just have normal bloody TVs.
And it's not even most like it's 60% or something. It's most like 95%.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I know that when the 360 comes out next year, I'm hoping to get a high definition TV because from the sounds of it, you just won't get you won't get the most out of the system unless you have a high definition TV.
But in the meantime, you're a minority. There won't be that many people who'll make the same decision. There'll be some, and it will push the technology a little bit, but I think Nintendo's decision to stay with standard definition is probably quite reasonable, considering the performance of the machine.
Well, it's reasonable here in Australia. Is it reasonable in Japan?
Japan is very advanced, but at the same time, I don't know. I
think they'll easily buy over Japan with the gimmicky stuff. I mean, just look at any Japan arcade. God, there's not even normal games in there anymore. Every game has a physical gimmick.
Because you go to Japanese arcades all the time.
I flew over there last weekend.
Akihabara, just in there doing your thing.
I am, actually. They all look at me. They're like, you're so tall.
And stupid.
Whatever.
Anyway, yeah. Good comeback. The Revolution.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Nintendo's got a lot to prove. I'm willing to give them a chance to prove it, but they're actually going to have to do something, and we need to see some games.
You know what? I'm after they made me eat
fanboy.
No, I'm not a crazy fanboy.
You're at least a fanboy.
I am a fan of Nintendo's, but I was unhappy with a lot of things they did on the GameCube. I'm unhappy that they made me spend so much money on the GameCube accessories and games which I thought would be brilliant and weren't. And unhappy by the lack of innovation with a lot of GameCube games which I expected to be fantastic.
Fair enough.
But they also made me eat my words with the DS, which I thought would be completely pounded by the PSP.
And is actually doing alright.
Not.
Nintendo's has really helped as well.
Oh, a lot of things have really helped with that. Mario Kart DS, even the fact that they're actually doing the Wi-Fi thing in Australia.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh my god.
They're usually supporting Australia.
They usually just ignore Australia in that respect.
But at the same time, I do agree that they've kind of got half a network unless they get someone like McDonald's.
Yeah, unless they get someone decent, sort of thing.
Because like EB is cool for buying games, but I don't play my games in EB. Actually, I play my games here.
At home.
And in the bus.
And in the nightclubs, you goddamn geek.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Geeks are the new cool, man. Someone was telling me that the other day. Someone's like, "Oh, geeks are the new cool," and I'm like, "I have seen no evidence of this."
Were they a geek?
No, they were saying that geeks are like the new hottie. That all the girls want geeks, and I'm like,
God,
that is so not something I've noticed. I'll let you know if that happens.
You're like, and I'd know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was pretty good talk on Nintendo.
Yeah.
I had a lot to say.
They're still going to have to prove it to me, but I'll wait and see.
No, I'll still get it. It's going to be cheap anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be cheap. That's a plus.
Actually, I got an email from a guy called Owen from Ubisoft who made a really good point, actually. Who said that the first thing that, like, Nintendo's such a kid-friendly system and all this kind of thing, and the controller has so much potential. But did you ever think about the potential it has for violent applications? As in, you know how you've got all these parents in uproar about all these violent games and stuff like that. Imagine a game where it actually has it, so you stab people with the controller.
That's cool.
Or just imagine what Rockstar Games' first thought was when they saw that controller. I mean, honestly, they weren't thinking, hey, you can play tennis with it. No, they were probably thinking, oh, wow, this is a new way you can actually beat people up in the next Grand Theft Auto game.
I like the stabbing idea.
Well, just things like that.
Thankfully, it's a Nintendo system, so nothing of the kind will ever happen.
No. I'd imagine there'll be, just like there was a Resident Evil 4 that crept through on the GameCube. There'll still be violent games that creep through on the Revolution.
Yeah, and we can only hope they'll be good. You know, one thing the Revolution really promises me that I have always been surprised
is a fishing game. I know you've always wanted to play one of them, and you have the control, and you have to swing it out. So, ding, 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 ding. Sorry, continue.
We've always had first-person shooter games.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Which are controllable, and you control your view.
Yes.
And we've always had shooting games where you shoot at the screen.
Yes.
We've never really had a combination of those two where you control the movement and shoot on the screen. You've always got either on rails or shooty with the cursor.
So you're suggesting that like the second joystick thing will be controlling it and the remote will be shooting?
You'll actually be shooting directly at the screen. Yes, that's exactly the control scheme they used for Metroid Prime 3.
3?
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 3?
Yes.
Metroid Prime 3?
What are you on? Yes, Metroid Prime 3.
There is no Metroid Prime 3. What?
Yet, but there will be.
Oh.
And it'll probably be a Revolution.
Oh, you said probably. I thought you said that's the control scheme they used.
No, that is the control scheme they used for it when they demoed it when they were talking about the Revolution control.
What?
You're really out of touch, aren't you?
They demoed Metroid Prime 3?
They demoed Metroid Prime 3.
Holy crap, I did not know that at all.
No,
I didn't see the video.
I honestly, I haven't actually seen the video, but I have heard talk about it, and
oh my
to
God.
me that's an extremely logical way to play a game.
That's very cool.
Because there's always been a problem with console games in terms of control is actually shooting at the actual thing you want to hit, because they're kind of clumsy and they're kind of unwieldy. And
I kind of feel like it kind of sounds like a little bit clumsy to begin with, sort of thing. Like you're actually moving the joystick with your left hand while you're constant. Oh, I guess it's. I'd really be interested to play it actually.
Yeah.
It sounds like it makes sense, but it also, to me anyway, it just sounds like it's a bit sort of like playing Mario on the DS with the stylus.
Yeah,
it's like, I guess that makes sense, but in actual fact, it's a little bit clumsy.
Well, it's actually even more than that, because the problem with controlling something in 3D is there's actually an awful lot of different directions you have to do. I mean, say you've got your controller, that's forward, backward, left, right. What's up and down? Like, what's turn left? What's turn right?
Yeah, you'd have to actually...
Probably there'd be, I think there's a trigger underneath the actual thing, so probably hold the trigger.
Would be forward.
Holding the trigger would probably... No, holding the trigger would probably mean that you're locked in position now and you look
like
up and down.
Like Metroid sort of thing. Actually, yeah, exactly like Metroid Prime. Yeah.
So that's probably how they'd do it, which you'd get the hang of.
Yeah, well, we got the hang of Metroid Prime.
It
wasn't too difficult. But it was a little bit frustrating how you had to stop to look up and down unless you were targeting something.
Yeah.
But it still worked. It's still a great game.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely, like, that will be almost certainly.
Yeah.
And that'll be the sort of thing they'll need to sell a system, because Metroid Prime 3 will be the sort of game that gamers will want.
Yep. No, absolutely.
And also, if they do it that way, will be the sort of thing they can say, see, told ya, controller.
Yeah, see, it does work. Yeah, just like they used Metroid to show off the DS, which isn't out yet.
Yeah, where the hell is that?
It's in hell.
In hell?
Yes. Accidentally, they all got shipped to hell.
Sweet.
Because they're like, oh, we'll ship it to somewhere that's cooler than Brisbane at the moment.
I actually got stuck on the Gold Coast the other day, and I actually watched Hellboy on my PSP.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you seen it before?
I've seen it before, but it was kind of cool. And I actually decided that, in some ways, sitting and watching a movie on the PSP is actually better than playing a game. There's just something about just sitting back, chilling out, watching a movie that is actually really satisfying on the PSP. I really enjoyed it.
Did you have any girl come up to you and go, hey, is that a PSP?
Couple, yeah.
Because Geek's cool. You must be really cool.
Yeah, a couple of girls.
Couple?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No.
That didn't happen.
Just check. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Okay.
Actually,
I will...
The girl at Nando's wanted me.
She wanted you?
I'm pretty sure.
She wanted your body?
I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. In my head.
In your head. In your head, you were like suave and went up and said, "Hey, babe, how you doing? Excited to get you know," and all this kind of stuff. But in actual fact, you were probably
suave.
You were probably just
creepy.
You were probably just standing there, just sort of eyes wide, just sort of drooling a little bit to the side. And
I want some chicken wings.
I want. No, never mind.
Yeah. So no, I bought chicken wings, and she was giving me a look. It was a look.
A look. It was probably a look of, if you don't walk away, I'm calling the manager.
No. There was a bit of a, hey, how you doing? Happening.
Right, and what did you do?
No, nothing.
Yeah, right.
Because there wasn't actually any of that kind of look. I just, in my head...
You made that up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good for you.
I need my illusions.
It'd work out bad anyway. You'd just be friends.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Oh, we saw a movie the other night, by the way.
Yeah.
Just Friends.
Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds and Anna Faris and
who I believe I've mentioned recently on the
Who, Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, I've mentioned Ryan Reynolds on the site as a dreamboat.
Which is a dreamboat.
A dreamboat. He's a dreamboat.
What is a dreamboat?
It's just one of those like really old expressions.
It's an old expression.
Yeah. It's one of those like 50s kind of. He's a
dreamboat, as in I'd like to ride that ship sort of thing.
No. It's too old for any sort of riding. There would have been no riding involved.
Oh, fair
They
enough.
didn't do that kind of thing. Then.
It's interesting actually because me and Matt have always been big fans of Ryan Reynolds since Van Wilder, but our housemate Jess just didn't really care too much.
We forced her to watch bits of Blade Trinity, thinking that she'd get all
hot and sweaty over scenes of him with his shirt off, but she
we did.
Look, I am hot and sweaty right now. Okay,
but Ryan Reynolds isn't involved.
No. But yeah, and she just wasn't all that keen until she saw him in Amityville Horror.
And now,
for some reason, it probably means she prefers guys that aren't funny. She prefers guys that sort of run at her with an axe.
I've always thought that about women, actually, that they say they like the funny guy, but really they like the guy with the axe.
Have you always said that?
I've said that nearly once now.
Really? I think we're done.
I think everybody listening has already decided we're done.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
See you later.
See ya.